All right, welcome back to the channel. So David Benavidez expressed his thoughts on the fight that happened this weekend between Canelo Alvarez and Dimitri Bivol, and he says that Canelo weaknesses was exposed, and it looks like David Benavidez knows in his mind that he can beat Canelo Alvarez by applying that pressure. So I'm going to break it down to y'all. Let's talk about it in this video. King Jr. got another video for y'all. Please sure that you like and subscribe to the channel, and also share the video to get all your latest boxing news, and also hit that bell icon to get all the newest news that I release and come out. With that being said, it looks like David Benavidez expressed his thoughts on Canelo Alvarez losing to Dimitri Bivol. And we all know that David Benavidez had taught Dimitri Bivol some tricks and tips on how to beat Canelo Alvarez. And David Benavidez said that he knew that Dimitri Bivol had what it takes to beat Canelo Alvarez. And he was impressed by the pressure that Dimitri Bivol was putting on. And David Benavidez stated that if that was me that applied that pressure, I would legitimately stop Canelo Alvarez. David Benavidez has said this on multiple occasions that he can stop Canelo Alvarez. But I beg to differ on that. But we're going to get into it as the video prolongs. But I have to agree with David Benavidez to a certain extent. I think the right type of fighter that uses great defense, utilize the jab more, set up combinations and stuff like that, can beat Canelo Alvarez with a little bit of footwork. And David Benavidez, in my opinion, feels like that his style of coming straight forward and throwing a lot of punches fast and keep applying the pressure until Canelo Alvarez get worn down. Well, that's not the case, because first of all, Canelo Alvarez is a very good counterpuncher, and David Benavidez would be getting pieced up left to right. This is just my opinion. If David Benavidez doesn't tighten up on his defense and get his head off the line, because he always getting hit with the jab easy. Benavidez has shown that he can be dropped by a flash knockdown and a person with a very good jab that utilizing the boxing ability to outbox and David Benavidez. And when David Benavidez fought Anthony Dirrell was outboxing David Benavidez, in my opinion, until Anthony Dirrell just simply ran out of gas, and David Benavidez kept throwing those punch combinations and eventually stopped Anthony Dirrell. So, what the case may be, we know that people is starting to look at Canelo Alvarez as suspect after this loss against Dimitri Bivol. A lot of people was picking Canelo Alvarez to knock out Dimitri Bivol in a 10th round stoppage or knockout, whatever you had. And a lot of people was wrong, and a lot of people had betted the money on Canelo Alvarez, and a lot of people lost a lot of money that I know of. And, you know, I didn't do a prediction video on this fight. I was lingering toward Canelo Alvarez, but I referred back to the channels I usually watch. Shout out to, once again, to Fanat International Boxing Channel. He stated this multiple times. Dimitri Bivol is a decent fighter. He's a European fighter with the basic fundamentals, and he has a very good jab. And a lot of people was overlooking that, and Bivol shocked the world, and he was really piecing up Canelo Alvarez. And I feel like that if it was David Benavidez in that ring, I think David Benavidez will present more problems to Canelo Alvarez than it should because of the pressure. Canelo Alvarez showed us that he may not can take pressure well as people thought he can take pressure, because Dimitri Bivol is not the biggest light heavyweight puncher in the world, but he applies pressure in a certain way that makes you think, dang, I can't really hit this dude, and I can't make the adjustment. So with that being said, I feel like that Canelo Alvarez is going to have to go back to the drawing board, and he's going to have to go back in the lab and make adjustments. Now, we heard this morning that Roy Jones Jr. stated that Canelo Alvarez needs to stay far away from Dimitri Bivol, but Bivol shows that, look, I'll fight you at 168, but you have to agree to my terms, and I want to fight for your belts. So Canelo Alvarez stated that he's going to go back down the campaign at 168, which he's going to have a lot of mandatories come up. We know that he's going to be fighting David Benavidez if he's successful against David Lemieux. We know that Demetrius Andrade was going to move up to 168 to fight Canelo Alvarez for the WBO, but Demetrius Andrade put out of the fight due to an injury, so that's not going to happen. So Canelo Alvarez is going to have some threats to take care of up there, and it's going to be really curious on how this is going to play out once David Benavidez is mandatory. Are they going to issue a franchise for Canelo Alvarez? Who knows what the case may be when it comes to the business of boxing. And I feel like Canelo Alvarez, he needs to, just go take this Gennady Golovkin fight, get Gennady Golovkin out the way, and call it a day, and build your confidence back up. And we seen Canelo Alvarez bounce back from a loss. He already took in a loss before, so you took in another loss. Big deal. You could come back and bounce back by making a statement by fighting Triple G, who claims that he beat you both fights. And you can legitimately knock him out in brutal fashion and retire Triple G and making a statement saying, "Hey, I ain't no cakewalk to nobody, and I'm still the dangerous opponent." And a lot of people, feel like that David Benavidez is the equalizer to Canelo. And we know that Team Canelo, a.k.a. Eddie Reynoso, basically Team Canelo, they turned down that fight immediately. We know that David Benavidez has tested positive for recreational use. We know that he lost his belt during an early pandemic when COVID started. He was overweight by 4 to 5 pounds or whatever the case may be. And so now David Benavidez has never lost his belt on the scale. On the scale he lost it, but in the ring he hasn't. So now a lot of people is going to want to start calling for this fight. I'm very interested in the fight, but Canelo Alvarez has taken a loss to one of the best light heavyweights in the world against Dimitri Bivol. So he needs to go back into rebuild mode by fighting Gennady Golovkin, who is a champion at middleweight, and he's looking to fight Canelo Alvarez for undisputed at 168, whatever the case may be. And we're going to see what's going to happen. But David Benavidez says that he feels like that he can exploit. He feels like Canelo has been exposed, and if he gets this opportunity, he's going to exploit that even more. And he heard on multiple channels, he talked about on multiple channels that he could stop Canelo Alvarez if he want. And I got to mention one more thing before I get out of here. David Benavidez also stated that Canelo Alvarez has very good stamina. A lot of people question Canelo Alvarez's stamina. In the Bivol fight, he was gassed in the first 4 to 5 rounds, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. You might have a different thought. But Canelo Alvarez was very gassed. And I feel like that Benavidez can take advantage of that because Benavidez has shown that he has a gas tank and he will keep coming forward. And the guy looked like he could take a good shot. But them shots are not going to hold up. If Benavidez take major blows from Canelo Alvarez that's throwing, and Canelo Alvarez is a good counterpuncher, it could be a very bad night for Benavidez. So back to the stamina issue. A lot of people felt like when he fought Lara and Floyd Mayweather, he was gassed and so on and so forth. And people said that when he fought Gennady Golovkin, he didn't look tired whatsoever. But we know that he tested positive for clenbuterol. Canelo Alvarez stated that it was the meat that was tainted. I'm going based off his words. He says that the meat was tainted. He didn't know. There is proof on the internet. Canelo Alvarez did say, basically it did say the meat was tainted. I don't have too much facts on it. But shout out to Money Brown TV. He has the statistics on it. And a lot of people overlooked that a little bit. But if you want to call Canelo Alvarez a drug cheat, the man cheated, okay? He cheated. But I respect him for serving his sentence, and he cheated. And even though people still have him on a pound for pound list, I would not put him at number 1 on pound for pound because the stuff he cheated, but he didn't know, but he's still considered cheated. I'll still put him on the pound for pound list, but he won't be number 1. But a lot of people feel like that Canelo Alvarez's stamina has always been up and down, and people feel like that if David Benavidez fights Canelo Alvarez, he could potentially stop Canelo Alvarez. I do not think that's true. David Benavidez is going to have to make me a believer of his accumulation knockout power and combinations with speed. If David Benavidez make an example out of David Lemieux coming up this month, I would be shocked by David Benavidez because David Benavidez wants all the smoke, and I would like to see him continue to get all the smoke. And David Benavidez is in a very good position. I hope he doesn't mess up but he's going to be in a position to fight Canelo Alvarez for the WBC title, because David Benavidez would be his mandatory, and Canelo Alvarez is talking about campaigning at 168 pounds. But we're going to figure out, we're going to see how that's going to play out over time. So whatever the case may be, with that being said, guys, it is what it is. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. This is your boy King Jr. I'm out of here. Peace.